Hi guys, my name is Trinity, and if you are here, you must be here to talk about books because that is why I'm here, to talk about books. And today we will be doing round 2 of my TBR cleanup. Now today I'm gonna do something a little different because last time I did books that were the longest on my TBR according to Goodreads. And figured out that there were a lot of people who hadn't read those books. And so today I'm picking some more popular books that are on my list, which it's me. They're probably still not like super popular, but these are the books that I've heard about mainly via BookTube, Twitter, Instagram, what have you, that I picked up based on recommendations from other people. So the last time that I did this video, I ended at 600 books on my TBR. Now, since then, I have read more and I have kind of combed through my Goodreads a little bit more because I realized there were probably some books that I had signed up for giveaways for that I'm probably just not interested in anymore. So I went back through it and cleared it out just a little bit more. I'm still going to keep doing these videos, so I did keep some that I was going back and forth on the list, but there were some, like I said, that were from years and years ago that were giveaways that I didn't win, but Goodreads still keeps them on your want to read list. So as of today, my Goodreads number is at 581. So I did make a little bit of a dent in it the last time I decided to comb through it. But before we get into the books, I do want to give a little bit of an explanation of what I like to read in case you want to participate and put your 2 cents on whether or not I will like these books. Let me give you an idea of what my reading tastes are. I like plot-driven novels. I don't always like character-driven novels. Epic fantasy is hit and miss with me, hit or miss. Like I like it or I don't. I love The Faithful and the Fallen, but there's a lot of others that I don't like. I don't like wordy descriptions. I don't like whiny characters. But the main thing is I usually lean in towards plot-driven dark fantasy, and these books kind of fall outside of the dark fantasy plot-driven things that I like. So that's why these books have all made this list. First off, we have an author that I've already had issues with in the past, and that would be George R.R. Martin's Fever Dream. So I was not a fan of the lengthy descriptions in Game of Thrones. Now, I have only read Game of Thrones. I have not continued with A Song of Ice and Fire, but when I read it, I was like, can you please just chill out with this description because I don't need this much description. It's driving me nuts. So someone suggested that I try a different George R.R. Martin book that was a bit more contained, and they recommended me this book. And then I found it at Books A Million for $4. So I was pretty pumped and I picked it up. I still haven't read it. The reason being is because I have in my mind all of those lengthy descriptions in Game of Thrones. So I just keep putting it off and keep putting it off. And this was based on one recommendation, and no one has ever said one way or the other whether they thought I would like it or if they thought I would not like it. And I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. It says a bloody tale of horror and hope. So it does sound up my alley. Abner Marsh has had his dearest wish come true. He has built the Fever Dream, the finest steamship ever to sail the Mississippi. Abner hopes to race the boat someday, but his partner is making it hard for him to realize his ambition. Joshua York put up the money for the fever dream, but now rumors have started about the company he keeps, his odd eating habits, and strange hours. As the dream sails the great river, it leaves in its wake one too many dark tales, until Abner is forced to face down the man who helped his dreams become reality. So yeah, it does sound up my alley. I just need to know, am I going to face difficulty in his writing in this book? And this was not planned necessarily this way, but again, Neil Stephenson is coming up. This is Sevensies. And funny story, I had an arc of this book, and it was about the time that my issues with ebooks started to rear their head, and I never got around to reading it. And then I found it at the buy sell trade. If you guys don't know, I turn in books for trade credit, making the books I purchased there $1. And so I found this for $1. And I picked it up thinking I would go ahead and give it a try. Now, it remains the longest book on my TBR. And I keep thinking I'm going to get around to reading it, and then I read reviews. The rating for this book is a 3.98. However, I keep coming across reviews that make me think I won't enjoy this book. I keep hearing that it goes nowhere. I keep hearing that there's not a lot of plot, and you know, I'm very much a plot-driven reader, so I haven't heard this from any reliable source yet. I also don't know many people who have read this book, even though it was popular when it came out. So I need some feedback. I need to know who's read it, who hasn't on their TBR. If you've read it, do you think that I would like it? Because this is one that I just go back and forth on so often. And like I said, it's the longest book on my TBR, so it's intimidating for that factor as well. But let me know, what do you guys think? Also, I know that this is hard sci-fi, and I'm a sci-fi baby, so that's intimidating too. Maybe it's just that this book is intimidating. That's why I haven't picked it up. But it says, a catastrophic event renders the Earth a ticking time bomb. In a feverish race against the inevitable, nations around the globe band together to devise an ambitious plan to ensure the survival of humanity far beyond our atmosphere in outer space. But the complexities and unpredictability of human nature, coupled with unforeseen challenges and dangers, threaten the intrepid pioneers until only a handful of survivors remain. 5,000 years later, their progeny, 7 distinct races now 3 billion strong, embark on yet another audacious journey into the unknown, to an alien world utterly transformed by cataclysm and time, Earth. So it does sound like it could be good. I don't know. I don't know. Help me out. All right, here's one that I purchased almost immediately upon release, and then never read it because I heard so many people say this book goes nowhere. And that is a dead giveaway to me, that it means there is no plot. And so maybe I should have known with the title of the book that it was going nowhere, but I was very intrigued by what I had initially heard of the book, so I picked it up. And that would be Wanderers by Chuck Wendig. Also, this might have been a cover buy because that cover is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. This also may seem like I'm trying to knock out the biggest books on my TBR, and that is not the case. I promise you that. But it says, a decadent rock star, a deeply religious radio host, a disgraced scientist, and a teenage girl who may be the world's last hope from the mind of Chuck Wendig comes a magnum opus, a story about survival that's not just about you and me, but all of us together. Aha! That's the reason I picked it up. I'm a sucker for a found family trope. And so I had heard about this. I had heard about the found family. I had heard that, it's very much a look at the world around us, and found family, that just, it sounds really good. It sounds really good. It's huge. This one's almost 800 pages by itself as well. It's not as long as Seven Thieves, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big. It's a chunky boy. So I keep wanting to pick it up and then thinking to myself, oh, there's so many others that I want to pick up. But this has been on my TBR since its release. So this one, I let one of my friends from back in the day talk me into buying multiple books that she loved, and she's a very different reader than I am, but there were a few she made sound really great, and this was one of them, and that would be Otherworld by Tad Williams. So I have heard very, very good things about Tad Williams. I have heard Tad Williams inspired Brian Lee Durfee. I love the Five Warrior Angels trilogy so much, so much. And if, Tad Williams was the inspiration, which I know it wasn't this series that the inspiration sprang from, but she talked me into purchasing Otherworld, and I want to like this book, but I always have issues picking it up. I always tell myself I'm going to do it, and then I never do. And again, chonker book. However, there's a caveat to this particular book in that I finally found an audio for it. So there is a good chance that this one, even though I go back and forth on it quite a bit, will be read in the near future. I'm not saying it's going to be read in December, but it could be read in the near future for sure. Do you guys think I'm going to like it? I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys, we have made it to the book that is 100% for sure coming off of the list. Now, I was part of the Shelf Space Discord for quite some time, made a few friends there, and started some buddy reads and entered into a readathon over there. During all of that chaos, the Long Price Quartet was mentioned, and everybody decided to read it and started loving it. However, I purchased this book based off of their recommendations. And then I heard from a few people who know my taste very, very well, like they know my reading taste, who said, you're not going to like that. There's no way you're going to like that book. And talked about it for a little while. So I'm a plot-driven reader. There's no plot in this book. I like fast-paced books. This is very slow-paced. I thoroughly enjoy, gray characters. And there's politics going on, but there's not a whole lot of stuff for me to love about this book. So I am going to knock this one off of the list. All right, here's one that I know a few of my friends are going to chime in on. So I don't like slow-paced books. I don't like character-driven books. This is a book I have started and had to set aside because I was participating in a readathon and this book was too slow. I was, however, enjoying it, but I do worry that that slow pace is going to continue throughout the series, and I do worry that it's going to eventually annoy me and I will either DNF the series or I will permanently DNF this book. So, The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Like I said, I've started this book. It has a very intriguing start. It definitely has elements that I enjoy reading in fantasy. It is character driven. It is slow. And so I worry about, like I said, DNFing this book closer towards the end of the book when I realize that it's just not the book for me. However, having liked elements of the books of this book already, I do wonder if I stick it out, am I going to have a big reward in the end? Because there are some slow-paced, character-driven books, such as Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, that I thoroughly enjoyed. But I really want to know, like, is this one that is going to have a payoff in the end, or am I going to end up DNFing it 60% of the way through? All right, the next book is probably going to shock a lot of you that I even own. Knowing my reading taste and knowing the things I like. Yes, I picked up The Ember Blade by Chris Whittling. Now, why would I do this? Why would I do this? Ed McDonald. Ed McDonald is one of my favorite authors. He wrote the Raven's Mark trilogy, Blackwing being the first one. And I got sucked in by Ed McDonald's name being on the front cover. Now, let me preface this with, yes, I do like Lord of the Rings. No, it's not a favorite series of mine. But when I heard a modern Lord of the Rings, I did get excited. So I really think that there's a chance I could love this. There is a chance I could really hate this book. But so many things point me in the direction of this might be the epic fantasy that I like. It might be. So I do keep trying epic fantasy, even though it's not my wheelhouse, not the types of books that I normally enjoy. However, I do think that if any of them stand a chance, this one might be it. All right, the next one is Wool by Hugh Howey. Now, I picked up this one. Again, this is a buy-sell trade purchase. I only spent $1 on it, but this is one that, even though there are some things that I think I'm not going to like about this book, elements of this book continue to draw me in. I like dark books. I like books that make you think. I really, really like books that mess with your head. This supposedly does all of those things. And so I'm looking forward to reading this, but I do worry if I'm going to like it. It's one of those that, again, could go either way for me. So if you are a plot-driven reader, what did you think about this? Did you read it? Would you pick it up being a plot-driven reader? Let me know. And as you guys know, I do like young adult. It's not the age range that I gravitate towards, but I do like it. So I do pick up the occasional YA. I do have Owlcrate. So it's no surprise that when everybody was talking about My Lady Jane, that I picked it up. I like historical fiction. I like snarky characters. I just haven't heard many people who read the same books that I do like this book. So I know it's a very popular YA. I know that it's cheeky and fun, but am I going to enjoy it? What do you guys think? Have you read it? Can you give me your 2 cents on it? And last but certainly not least, we have Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. Again, this was a buy-sell trade find in which I only spent $1 on it. These books that I see for cheap and pick them up going, I might like it, I might not like it, but I'm only spending $1, so what does it matter? My concern with this is mixed media format. So I do know that the audiobooks are actually better than the written work. I've heard that pretty much across the board. And it feeds the mixed media format of this book. So I want to listen to it, I think. However, I feel like every time someone talks about the Themis Files, they say that the final book sucks. So is it worth reading Sleeping Giants to not read the 3rd book, or to not continue, or to not like the 3rd book? I don't know. I want to read it. I really do. I think the premise is really cool. I have read Sylvain Neuvel's short stories, but I need you guys to weigh in on this particular book. All right, that is it for my video today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.